Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Good Morning with me, Misti B. Today we are talking about one of my favorite topics, and that's woman to woman. I have in the studio with me today recovery coach Denise Joshua-Fleming. Okay, and get this, guys. I want to ask you a question. When was the last time, women, you looked in the mirror? And I don't mean looked in the mirror to see how beautiful your hair was or to make sure that your lip gloss was perfect. I mean, look in the mirror and you did some soul work. Like you really checked in on your soul to see how things were going. Ask yourself that question. And if you haven't done the work in a while, that's okay, because Miss Denise is in the studio and she's going to tell you how to do the work, okay? So stay tuned because we are going to be back right after this break.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back. I am in the studio with recovery coach Denise Joshua-Fleming. And you know, guys, I love everything woman to woman because we are in a season of divine feminine energy and we're going to talk about all things related to women. Now, Miss Denise, what is a recovery coach?
Recovery coaches help women or people go from crisis to self-sufficiency, to help walk them through the process and bounce those thoughts that are new to them off of, and redirect and reframe those thoughts.
That sounds good. Now, how did you decide to become a recovery coach?
Well, I'm actually a recovering alcoholic and addict, and I have 15 years of continuous sobriety.
Okay.
And it's through my experience, strength, and hope that I'm able to help others move from that point of crisis to self-sufficiency.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So what you see, so you've been doing this for how many years?
15
years. Okay, over the last 15 years, what have you seen that we as women need the most? Or what's the issue that just keeps popping up that you always see?
What I see more consistently from women is the shame and the guilt of having had an addiction or having had issues. Because what we are conditioned to do or be is everything for everybody, or to look like I have it all together. And there's a definite amount of transparency that needs to happen in order to start to address what's going on within. Does that make sense?
That does. Can I share a little bit of my story?
Absolutely.
So it's funny. So when I got divorced, oh my God, I had so much shame, so much guilt. So it may not necessarily be recovering from a substance, right? But I carried that guilt for years. And like you said, I was very shameful of my journey. Like, oh my gosh, I did everything right. Like that was something I always said. I did everything right. Why did this happen? I didn't understand it. So it's very interesting that you see that in almost every facet.
Well, we're all recovering from something. It doesn't necessarily, like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be substance abuse. It could be toxic relationships. It could be relationships with food. It could be shopping, gambling.
Childhood trauma, don't forget that one.
Absolutely, childhood trauma and sexual abuse. These are things that we are shameful about and don't really want to talk about.
Why is that?
I think we've been conditioned as a culture to not really address the mental illnesses within our community. So therefore, we sweep them under the rug. It's always about what they might say. And so in that effort to try to look like we have it all together, we tend to buy our own stories that I'm okay.
So basically, we just kind of like live in our own utopia, false reality.
That's it.
Honey, not me. Listen, I put that mirror in my face because I have to have authentic conversations with myself.
Got to.
I'll tell you, one of the things I ran into a lot was, and I do not like being referred to as this, but I hear it, oh, you're so aggressive. And that really bothered me. At first it didn't, but I heard it so much. Maybe I am aggressive. I don't mean to be. I just see something I wanted and I go after it. Right? Like that's just who I am. But that bothered me because I was hearing it so much that I had to come to terms, well, why am I aggressive? Like really dig deep, why am I this way? And I just had to look in the mirror and accept it about myself.
Well, see, that's a huge part of recovery. So we are going to uncover, we're going to discover, we're going to discard, and then we're going to recover. It requires you to walk in your authentic self in order to do that. And that authenticity starts with a gut level honesty with ourselves. We have got to take that personal inventory and look at who we are. The good, the bad, the ugly, the real ugly. Take that inventory, and through that inventory, you will start to see a pattern.
That's good.
That pattern will start to reveal your shortcomings and your defects of character.
Because, honey, it feels like I was on a hamster wheel for a while. Do you hear me? I'm like, I keep running into the same thing. And I literally prayed one day. I'm like, I am ready to step off of this hamster wheel. But I had to acknowledge it. Because it's like I'm running into the same patterns in different areas of my life.
Well, that's where that level of willingness comes in.
Okay.
All right. When you get sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're going to make some change.
Absolutely.
And what happens is that we tend not to move into that change because we're fearful. So many things in our lives are driven by 100 different forms of fear. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of whatever is holding you back.
Fear of success. Let's talk about that one for a second. Because I think more people fear success than they feel failure. They'll associate it with failure. But do we not feel that we're worthy? What are you seeing mostly when you're talking to women? Do they not feel worthy of?
They don't. They don't. They do not feel worthy. All right. See, with success comes responsibility and accountability. And I always want to blame you. I don't want to take accountability.
I don't want to look in the mirror. Why would I do that, Denise?
Exactly. You know.
I don't know. I'm thinking about my own story, success. So I'll tell you this. Like I like to be vulnerable. No, that's not true. I am working on being more vulnerable. I remember when I was called to do the show for Food Network in Alaska, right? I was supposed to leave in March. In March, I was ready, okay? I was not ready when they called in October. Okay. Like that was like, it's like, really? Now you want me to come? And I have 7 days later, but it's funny. I wasn't in my mind, my subconscious, or maybe my conscious mind, I wasn't afraid of success, but I was afraid of, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to be on TV. What am I going to look like? What am I going to sound like? Like I went through all of that in my head, like, but I had to get over it, you know? Like.
And there too, those are those voices. Some of the worst messages I've heard about me have come from me. I can't, they'll never, it won't happen for me. All of that. And that self-talk plays a huge part in how I feel, what I project. And sometimes it'll boomerang and have me layer up like an onion. All right. And because I want you to think that I'm this, when deep down inside there's a scared little girl that's wondering about how I'm going to look. Is my hair right? Does this look right? Blah, blah, blah. And rather than bringing that authentic self forward. But I want to touch on something that you talked about when we talked about success. success is very subjective. Okay, so many of us get caught up in the materialistic projection or ideal of success that we miss the small wins.
Absolutely.
We miss the small wins, such as I pushed through today, whatever it was.
Let me give myself credit.
For just today. If you were feeling like you couldn't make it through today, and at the end of the day you had some small wins, some ups, take that end of day inventory and find the wins.
I like that. You're talking to me.
Yeah,
okay.
Find the wins.
I'm your audience because I'm that person. Well, I want my big wins. Screw that little stuff. Like, I was that person. Like, that don't really matter, or I don't really consider that a win, but it is a win. And I like that success looks differently for every single person.
It looks differently for everyone. And we have got to reframe all of the self-talk. We have got to recognize the victories. We have got to acknowledge ourselves. See, there was one thing that happened for me during the process of recovering, and there was many things I was recovering from, is that once I learned to love myself, I no longer needed the people or the things to give me my validation. I learned that my significance came directly from God. He says I'm worthy.
That's it. The end.
The end. Put a period at the end of that.
Speaking of periods, we're about to go to break, but we're going to continue this conversation because I want to tell you something. I want to talk about something you said about those inner talks that we have with ourselves.
Gotcha.
Guys, we are going to be right back right after this break with Miss Denise because we're talking about some good stuff here.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac with the new 2021 XT6 Luxury Collection with standard third row seating for just $459 a month for 39-month lease with only $1 down. Or purchase and receive 1.9% APR for 60 months plus $2,500 bonus cash. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway. Test drive the new 2021 Escalade today at Ron Carter Cadillac.
Smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm a part of the Prenatal Care Club now, taking all my STD tests.
Did you know your doctor's required by law to test you 3 times for syphilis and HIV?
Yes, my husband and I are making sure I get all 3 tests.
Good. Testing is the key to preventing congenital syphilis.
And good prenatal care is your first labor of love.
Glad to hear your husband is so involved.
Thank you. Yes, taking all my STD tests for syphilis is important to both of us. My prenatal promise is to prevent a stillbirth or miscarriage. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
We are back, and I'm talking to Miss Denise about some of those inner conversations that we have with ourselves, and not the good ones that say how amazing we are. You know, those other ones that sometimes we don't want to address, you know?
Yeah.
Now, I want to tell you something. So my mom always says, Miss Denise, we hear a lot, especially if you grew up in a Christian household, the enemy, right? And I love my mom. She always says, sometimes it's the inner me,
Girl.
the inner me. So we're so focused on, like you said, let's point the finger at someone else. But no, it's the inner me. It's the conversation that I'm having with myself. It's my own fear, my own self-doubt, etc. What do you think? Do you think that's...
Girl, on a daily basis, I got 3 people I feel like are out to kill me. Me, myself, and I. And it depends on which one of them shows up in that little conversation as to who I fly with. But I know which one to listen to. I instinctively know which one to listen to. It's easy to listen to the one that says I can't because I don't want to try.
I like what you said, though, before break when you mentioned your self-worth. And I think that, like you said, society has taught us that you're worthy when your life looks like ABC, right? That has nothing to do with worth. You are worthy because you were created by the Most High. That's something I say all the time. Like, that's what makes you worthy. Absolutely nothing that you've done. Because you could be a millionaire and be a complete butthole.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Does that make you worthy because you're successful in this area of life? Not at all.
It's an inside job.
It is.
It is an inside job. High self-worth and high self-esteem come from esteemable acts.
Let's talk about this though. You said something about self-love. How did you learn to love yourself? And I'm asking you this because if you're scrolling through social media these days, right, you see everything that's talking about self-love, self-love, self-love. But what does that look like for you?
Girl, it is what it is today.
I like that.
It is what it is. I stay in my lane. Okay? Here's the thing. When we compare ourselves to other people, we will always fall short.
Absolutely.
There's going to be someone taller, smaller, hair longer, hair shorter,
Prettier,
eyelashes longer,
more money.
skin looks like this. Stop comparing yourself to everyone else and run your own race. Accept who you are. Embrace all of your curves, all of your lumps, all of your flaws, and love on them, because then you'll start to love on yourself.
Absolutely. And I think also with self-love, because we do a lot with physical, but it's internal. Like me, again, with my aggressiveness, I had to just accept that about myself. I literally hated it. Like, stop calling me aggressive. Call me assertive. It's the same thing.
So what are you practicing on a daily basis, though? What are you aligning yourself with to change? Because if I'm like this, how do I move into another space? Well, that's a spiritual job. That's an inside job. So you start practicing some honesty, some hope, some faith, some courage, some integrity, some discipline, some humility. Oh, girl, that was huge for me.
Humility?
Oh, absolutely. What I have learned is that when my pride and my ego are running out front, Denise is on a collision course with some humiliation, because I think I know everything. You can't tell me nothing. But when I'm walking in humility, I can take off those layers and say, hey, Misti, you know what? Girl, I'm feeling like this. Or I really don't understand that. Can you help me understand that? Or just being transparent enough to reach outside of yourself and seek the help that you need. And then be disciplined about what you're doing. Now, what's really more important is the service. When you give of yourself. Everybody doesn't have to know. I have a friend right now that lives under the Pierce elevator. I don't announce to everybody on social media when I take her food or when I take her clothes or whatever. I do it because I know she's stuck there, and I keep reaching out, and I keep just sharing that light with her. What are you doing to improve how you feel about you without having to let the world see what I'm doing, look what I'm doing? And once you know, once that feeling starts to permeate within you, you feel so awesome.
That's funny you say that. So I partner with the same food truck, Bayou City Eats. It's like a big brother to me. And so this is what happens. I love to feed the homeless. My mom put that in me when I was like 7 years old. So when you mentioned Pierce Elevated, that is what brought this story up. And I got really upset one day. I was like trying to call everyone. It was like one Christmas. I really wanted to feed the homeless. Oh, we can't accept any more volunteers. I was pissed for absolutely no reason. And it came to me, ma'am, you call yourself the food truck lady. Call one of your food truck partners. You have everything you need already inside of you. Call my food truck partner. We literally got money from different friends, family, and we drove around and we literally fed the homeless. And I took pictures. And then the following year, Miss Denise, I wanted to go bigger than feeding the homeless, because everybody's feeding the homeless on Christmas, okay? What about the other 364 days? So we decided to do toiletries. But I didn't want to announce it because, like you said, it's my thing. I do this because I want to do this. Nobody else. But when I will say this, when I was vulnerable enough to mention it to someone in passing, I received so many donations, socks, wet wipes, and I was able to go into the community and do that. But like you said, this is my first time talking about this publicly ever, because it's not for me. I always pray, like before we go out, okay, I need to feed someone who literally does not know where their next meal is coming from. Like, that's very important to me, that they can see that there's some higher source, whatever you believe in, still exists. And so that's my thing. So when you just said that resonated.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in the mornings I ride my bike and I go along the bike trail that goes into East downtown. And I always freeze an extra bottle of water, because I always know I'm going to run across somebody on my way that needs it. And I give it away every day. And it just really kind of sets the tone for giving, for just where I want to be that day.
So let me ask you this. We have to wrap up, but I want to know, if you had to leave women with one message today, what would that message be?
That message, again, would be to walk in your authenticity. Discover who you are.
And if they ask you, how do I discover?
You got to get gut level honest. You've got to do that inventory. You got to look at, who are you? What am I holding on to?
And not who I've been taught to be.
That's it.
Who am I?
Who am I actually? Am I really a scared little girl? Am I really feeling less than? Am I really feeling unworthy? And own those feelings. Stand there for a minute, because you quietly thought it, but say it out loud and put it on paper and look at it. And then let's reframe all of that and discard it. And start looking at what we can pour in to be the best person you could be.
You know what? You have just touched my little soul. Because, I said this to my therapist. I am tired of doing the work, literally, but it doesn't stop.
It does not,
It
girl.
doesn't end.
It does not. Every day. So if I would have had to write a list, January 24th of 2006, of the things that my future life would hold, I would have sold myself short. The miracles unfold every day. The growing unfolds every day. The opportunity to walk in that authenticity and to be better. There are new areas that I identify every day, and I take time to take a look at them. And more importantly, I process them with somebody else. Because in rolling around up in my mind, girl.
You know what? I want to thank you so much for coming into the studio.
Thank you.
I appreciate this conversation myself. I know that the audience will too. And I want to continue this conversation, okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Guys, we are going to be back right after this break.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Welcome back, guys. Did you enjoy that woman to woman with Miss Denise? That was pretty good. So ladies, I asked a question at the beginning of the show. When was the last time you looked in the mirror? And here we go. Me and my vulnerable moments. Sometimes I get sick of them, but I hope you guys don't. I had a friend say recently, a guy friend, that women get dressed up for other women. And I was like, that's not true. But that was something he's been told by other women. And thinking back to what Miss Denise said today, are you walking in your authentic self? Are you getting dressed up for you? Are you wearing lashes and weave, and nothing against those things, but are you doing it because it makes you feel good? Or do you wear it because that's what society says? And I like to go much deeper than the physical. What's really going on inside of your life? Miss Denise and I had a chance to talk, and we were talking about, being on the same hamster wheel, like the patterns in life. And sometimes you're wondering, like, why am I bringing the same or attracting the same people into my life? Why am I attracting the same situations into my life? If you're attracting situations, people that you are not necessarily fond of, guys, it's time to do the work that she said, it is time to look in the mirror and really go deep within. And I want to be honest with you guys, I am not necessarily fond of being vulnerable all the times. I'm just becoming comfortable with it, and I'm 39, but it's so much beauty in it because I'm getting to be the authentic Misti B. I would not be able to host this show and host it successfully if I was walking in someone else's shoes, okay? I put on my size 10s every morning. Do not laugh. But if you see a cute pair, buy them for me. I'll pay you back. I put on my size 10 shoes every morning, and I get to be me. And there's no one more amazing than me because I'm me. And there's no one more amazing than you because you're authentically being you. So it is time for us to be our authentic selves every single day. And, you know, I talk about dreaming out loud. That's the biggest dream ever. You can have the most amazing business, but, you know, being a fraud within. Be you. You are perfect just as you are. And as she and I talked about, you are worthy because you were created by the Most High, whomever that may be to you. If it's the universe, if it's God, if it's Allah, whomever, you were created just as you are, and you are already perfect. Now it's time for you to undo all of the things that you have been taught by society or the things we may have been conditioned to do because of family. Find out who you really are and become that person and walk in that every single day. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I love these segments. And if you are a woman and you have an amazing story that you want to share, guess what? I want you sitting in the same seats that Miss Denise was sitting in, okay? So make sure you reach out to us. Email us at info@americanstartv.com, and be sure that you're following us, okay, on Instagram and Facebook at American Star TV, because guess what? We are authentic and we are transparent. So if you are attracted to this show, that means that you are in a place in your life where you're ready to evolve to the next level. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Bye-bye.